Winter is back, or at least it has finally arrived in the western part of the United States, where it has been sorely absent for much of the winter season. Meanwhile, here in the Northeast, we're playing Find the Warm Front and make sure you're on the right side of it. Otherwise, you're going to be in gloom and doom. So, we're going to talk about that. Yes, we also have the weekly major storm on the models, which may or may not happen. We'll take a look at that as well. So, fasten your seatbelts for an incredibly exciting, spiritually riveting Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. And of course, for us to be riveting, it requires support, and we'd like you to shop our link on Amazon, which you can find on the descriptor on YouTube. Just use that to get you to Amazon, where you do your normal shopping, whatever it might be. And Amazon will throw us back a little bit of coin for sending you there. It keeps the Joe and Joe Weather Show live podcast commercial free, which I know everybody likes. And we thank those of you who have used the Amazon link. And Tempest by Weatherflow. Get the revolutionary Tempest weather system. Join the fastest growing observing weather network on the planet. The link for this is pinned to the top of the chat board. It's also on the description to this podcast. And there is a special Joe and Joe coupon code, which is...
Oh, are you throwing this to me now?
There's a special coupon code, which is...
Winter 2026. And if you use that, you will be able to get 10% off most anything that you purchase, not at, ShopRite or Stop and Shop or Acme or whatever. The only place where that 10% coupon code is going to be good, is going to be useful for you, is to use it at Tempest. Anything you want to purchase at Tempest, including their much heralded weather station, which Joe Cioffi has. If you want that, you could get 10% off the price by using our special Joe and Joe coupon code. And again, it's Winter 2026, Joe.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but...
I've had it up to here already.
Well, no.
I've had it up to here.
No.
I went out this morning. I had a lovely...
down a different road here. Hold on.
Oh, okay. All right.
I don't know about you, but holiday weekends, as you get older, I really wish they wouldn't have them because enough. And this is my reasoning. I don't know about you, but I don't know what day of the week it is.
I didn't know either.
I'm being off on Monday, so when I sat down this morning to do everything, I'm writing Monday's dates, and everything was Monday. And then about the middle of the afternoon, I'm like, oh no, it's Tuesday. And forget about it when Christmas is in the middle of a week on a Wednesday. This happened. Oh my God. I had no idea. I had no clue where I was. I had no clue what day of the week it was. I had to go I couldn't even figure it out off the calendar. I had to go look it up. So, I finally had to look on the computer. No.
I said to Renata today, I said, it's Ash Wednesday today, isn't it? She says, no, it's Tuesday.
Tomorrow.
And I said, how could they possibly have Ash Wednesday on a Tuesday? Something's amiss. Right. Something's wrong. And again, just like with you, I got thrown off by yesterday being President's Day. So
yeah, no, I did really this morning. Just like I thought it was Monday, and I knew it wasn't, but my mind was anyway. Enough of that.
And I was about to say before you went into your wrong day rant that Renata and I we met with my daughter and a good friend of hers. We had a lovely brunch or lunch in Dutchess County at a very nice diner, just to get together. It was their day off. Today was Lunar New Year, and all the teachers in New York had the day off. So why not take advantage and get together with family or whatever and have something that we don't normally do. And already when I was sitting there waiting for my double-decker hamburger to arrive, I'm looking on my phone and I'm scrolling through all of the social media sites saying, ballyhooing, exploding with a big storm coming this weekend. It's going to be massive, lots of snow. Look at the winds. Look at this. Look at that. And I just took the phone. I just
I'd like
threw it
somebody
across
to
the
go
table.
back at I'd like somebody to go back when we're done with this winter to go back and just add up how many inches we had in theory. Okay, for the whole winter season, because we've gone through this multiple times now with uh, storms and models producing big amounts in the 5 to 7 day time frame before that and beyond, and not materializing. And I don't know about you. I mean, I'm gonna just be open and upfront about this. Right now. I'm very agnostic about where this is going because I can kind of see it both ways and how this could work out. But um, I think you need to pay attention close to the European because it might be trying to tell you something. And
Well, the European, this afternoon's operational European run had most of the omega, which you would need for an intense burst of precipitation. Most, if not all of it, was way out to sea. Yes, I saw the GFS, and yes, for those of you Canucks out there, I did see the Canadian, which bashed us, Joe, with blizzard-like conditions
oh yeah, I
later
know.
in Sunday night.
And the icon
But
too,
and the icon,
and the uke met. You might as well throw them all in there because they
you
all had it.
know, but it's like 5 days away, and like really, you want to carve this in stone 5 days out?
No,
It's
that's not
it's
going to happen.
it's not going to happen. It's really, I mean, I'm not saying the storm is not going to happen, and it looks like right now, I will admit that it looks like we're going to get some kind of precipitation on Sunday, but as to whether or not it's going to be, oh boy, folks, it's going to be a killer diller. It's going to be one of those big ones. I'm not even going to go that way or go that route. In fact, on my Facebook forecast for the Lower Hudson Valley, I said simply for Sunday, some snow, which can be either flurries or a massive whiteout. I don't know. And quite frankly, 5 days out, I don't care.
Ah,
These people who are already promoting this, like for example, Ruben, you got to understand, get the name right. It's not Janice Huffington. It's Janice Huff. There's no Ington attached to the Huff. And quite frankly, I don't know whether
no,
or not.
if he wants, he can leave. You know, Joe, if he wants, he can leave in a huff. Or if
Yeah,
that matter, he could leave in a minute in a huff.
I mean, you and I went through this, Joe. You sit down before the newscast, we got the editorial meeting or whatever, and they sit down and they say to you, says, so does this look like a big thing? Can we start ramping up on it? Can we start promoting it? Can we start scaring people? Can we see if we're going to be the first channel to clear all of the milk and egg aisles and bread aisles at the local ShopRite within the next 24 hours? No, no, we're not under those circumstances anymore. We're not looking for ratings. We're not looking to scoop anybody on a news story. And when we get close into the time, and somebody has already made the remark and said, Joe Ray will probably say, wait until 3 days before it. And that's true because the data and the algorithms that go
Look
into
what
all
just
of these
happened this
models.
weekend. Look what
Yeah,
just happened this weekend inside 48 hours, and you had some models throwing out, 7, 8, 9 inch amounts for for that nonsense that happened on Sunday.
yeah.
Really? So
Well,
you're gonna put it in stone now? You have to be you'd be a fool to do that.
what can I say except that we're all the data that is going to make this storm track and intensity far more accurate is not going to be available to be put into the models until, again, about 72 hours. This is why I've said this before. I'll say it again. I'll say it on my grave. I wish all of these models were go out at the same length or the same period of time as the NAM. The NAM doesn't go out any further than 84 hours, and probably there's a reason for that because those who designed the NAM know that you're not going to get really accurate forecasts or semi-accurate forecasts until you're within 84 hours of the event. And these forecasts that are going out 5, 6, 8, 10, 15 days, go ahead, watch,
Never
get
gonna
excited.
happen.
But it's the science fiction progs, as I call
It's
them.
well,
So
that's true. But what we can do is look at, I laid out a theory there, or you don't call it a theory. But I set down a parameter about the fact that if those of you're looking at all these models, and the European is probably is the only major model right now that is not on board with this, and there's a reason for it, and I think you need to pay attention to this because this is something that we saw almost identically. It's almost it's virtually the same with the system that happened. I think it was maybe about 3 weeks ago. And what I have up here is the 18Z European, which is just as good. I could use the 12, but the 18 is fine because it's the same. And we're looking at the upper air going into this weekend, and I'm just going to back this up. What you'll notice is the shortwave that is stretched back from Newfoundland and New Brunswick all the way back into almost to Lake Huron. And that is something that the other models are not showing. And what happens is that the energy that should make this storm that's coming down out of the Dakotas and Minnesota gets completely squashed to the south, and you get maybe something with the upper air trough, and that's really it. And this is we went through this about 3 or so weeks ago, Joe, and we wound up with nothing in the days before. We had models doing all sorts of big things with regards to snowfall, and the upper air setup that the European is showing is very similar to what we had back. Think it was 3 weeks ago. I'd have to go back and look on the maps for sure, but it was one of those storms that formed offshore North Carolina and wound up going straight east. And it could very well happen again. Now, I don't want to, I'm not saying that that is the correct solution, because if it's wrong about that stretched out shortwave, and I'm going to show you, I'll bring up the GFS, there is no east-west shortwave on the GFS, nor is there one on the Icon. You've got a diving cutoff low that's coming down. Let me clean the map up here. Right down from Alaska, going straight south along 130 degrees north, 130 degrees west. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. 140 degrees west. Okay. And that's going to allow a bridge to pop up in the west and up into the Rockies and into western Canada as we roll along. The short wave dives down, cuts off, and becomes really vigorous as it goes full negative tilt. And you get a major storm that's inside the box. People get buried, and this could be correct. But I'll tell you right now, Joe, if there is a short wave that lies between this upper high that's over James Bay and the main jet, which is to the south, if there's something in between here, you're not going to be able to lift that thing up, and it's going to go out underneath us. And I think that's what the European is telling you. And do not discount it, okay? Do not discount it because it could very well happen this way.
So we'll wait and see. We'll see how whether or not the European caves and joins all the other models, or whether or not all the other models, in their numerical way, say, hey, the European brings up a good point with that upper level system that's trying to move in from the lower Great Lakes and combining that with the other. It's too early. But what annoys me is those sites, those social media sites that make it sound like it's a given, that it is going to happen, that you are going to see a major storm, and it simply is too early in the ball game to say that. And those people on local television who are hinting that that's going to be the case are only doing it probably because they have been told by their hierarchy, by their either their news directors or their executive producers, hey, there's some way that you can bump up the ratings? Can there's some way that you can spur some excitement? Because we don't have football anymore to show. we don't have any major sporting events, but we need to have people watching our local uh, our channel on a Sunday afternoon and evening. And if there's an impending storm, then they'll turn to us and watch and hear what we have to say. That's more or less what it all boils down to at this moment in time.
Well, yeah, the reality is hardly anybody watches local news anyway, and hardly anybody watches local networks anyway. Legacy media is dead. So there's that. Everything is on social media. Weather is the number one place people go to for their weather is social media. They do not go to television stations anymore. And by the way, one of the New York stations, I think it was WNBC, but I'm not 100% sure on Friday, showed the graph model, which had for this past Sunday, Joe, 17 inches for New York City. And they showed this on the air. Okay. So we're kind of at a point where they're playing up against what's going on social media. We can't change anything because we don't know. We can't control the algorithms. The algorithms are going to go to the apocalyptic posts. They're not going to go to us. They're not going to go to reputable people. They're going to go to those who proclaim that everything is the end of the world, even if it's 2 weeks from now. It's a losing battle. We can't fight it. So all we can do is do our job, what we think is the best thing to do, which is to approach everything from a sane, logical, calm point of view, and to hell with the rest of them. I mean, really, to hell with the rest of them.
And it's
So,
also a losing battle to try to tell Reuben Fairchild, who again, for the umpteenth time, even after I explained that her name is not Janice Huffington, he's thinking that what we're alluding to or talking about is Channel 4's Janice Huff, and he said Janice Huffington. Yeah. So I give up on trying to give him, the how
it,
many
it,
times can you say that the woman's name is not Huffington,
can
and he
you
keeps
see?
saying Huffington?
Can you see me, Joe? Are
Can
you
I
able
see
to?
what?
Are you able to see me?
Yes.
Okay. So, do you see what I'm doing right now?
What are you doing? Oh, yeah.
You see what I'm doing? Okay. You know what that? You know what that is, right? Mental
Yes,
floss.
yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Some people need mental floss. All right. Um, anyway, let's look at the Christmas tree that is the Watches and Mornings map tonight. Boy, it's been a long time that we've seen the West like this. Winter storm warnings all over the place in Northern California and the Sierra Nevadas, even in the mountains in Southern California. We've got a slew of winter weather advisories. We've got winter storm warnings and winter weather advisories in Utah, northern Arizona, into Idaho, eastern Washington, blizzard warnings in northeastern Montana, winter storm warnings in northern North Dakota, northern Minnesota, and in the upper peninsula of Michigan. We have winter storm warnings and winter weather advisories in the western half of Colorado. A lot of high wind watches and wind advisories and all sorts of things. Even and then red flag warnings because of fires that have broken out, particularly one in Oklahoma. And we've got winter weather advisories in some of the counties in upstate New York because they're on the other side of a warm front. And you've got winter weather advisories on one side, and you've got dense fog advisories, Joe, across much of eastern Pennsylvania to southern New England tonight, including you.
Yes, yes. And there apparently will be a chance for thick, dense fog. Not immediately. I just stepped out, take the dog out a little while ago, and we still have clear, starry skies. But later tonight, and especially toward daybreak, we do expect some fog and low clouds to develop, and it may be. And that, for those of you who have been saying, I'm sick of looking at the snow. I'm sick of looking at it on my roof or on my lawn. When is it going to go away? If we were to get the thick, dense fog tonight in your area, wherever you might be watching, that's going to do the trick. I know it got to 50 degrees today. It was a lovely day, and there was some melting. But if you really want to try to get rid of try to get rid of the snow, fog is the way to do it. And that combined with the
The
rain
only
that we're
thing,
expecting
here's my
tomorrow.
question though. There's a layer of, we had all that sleet, which is why the snow is taking forever to disappear. I mean, is that, does that slow it down?
I'm not sure. And you're right. Underneath
Because
on my roof, for example, there's a in some places there's a thick layer of ice that the snow is sitting on.
yeah,
So, so I'm not sure whether or not that would slow the process down. But this is, fog or advection fog. This is when you have two different air masses colliding with each other. One goes over the other, rapidly melts snow when warm, humid air moves over a cold snow surface with condensation releasing latent heat that melts snow up to 7 times faster than rain. And this phenomenon often occurs in late winter or early spring as thick, low hanging fog, sometimes called a snow eating fog. And I'll tell you, actually, this was not in early spring. The best example of snow eating fog several years ago, Joe, you may remember in mid December, we had about 10 or 12 inches of snow in mid December.
well, I
And
remember
then
that.
and then we had rain which combined with a thick fog, and come Christmas morning, look out the window, what happened? It's all gone. It literally went in a matter of like 24 hours. Not so much because of the rain, I think, but because we had thick, dense fog to go along with it. So we get that fog late tonight and tomorrow. I'm not saying it's going to go away completely, but it could get rid of a lot of that snow. And if it doesn't happen tomorrow or late time tomorrow, we have another round of rain coming, an even heavier dose of rain coming when we get to the end of the week on Friday.
Right. So here's our surface map tonight, and you see these frontal boundaries. The warm frontal boundary is in the process of setting itself up, and we've got 30s for highs today in upstate New York and into New England, which for them is okay. That's a warm up, and middle 40s, even some upper 40s popped up today. Although there were areas, especially near the coast and parts of Long Island, where fog was a problem for a good part of the day, and it just stayed gloomy, doomy. We did beautiful here in the South today, mid 60s to low 70s for highs and plenty of sunshine. Weather's been was gorgeous here today. And here's our low that's sitting in central South Dakota with 70s pushing up into Nebraska, 60s into Iowa, 50s and 40s into Minnesota. I mean, this is warm stuff here. And that might be the Chinese takeaway. I'll take an order of ribs.
Call from Pastor Lisa.
Oh, it's my daughter-in-law.
Shall we?
My
Can
daughter-in-law
we
is
listen
calling.
to this
Miss,
conversation while you're having it, or
no, I think she would kill. I think she would kill us if I would have put this on the air. But I know Mrs. Rayo is making a run to the phone upstairs right
hope
now
if
because
I
she's.
call on the air, I don't have makeup on. Anyway,
um,
uh, the West is cool, chilling off as it turns colder there. We've got 20s in Colorado, which parts of Western Colorado, which has been an absolute rarity this winter. 30s and 40s, which is cooler than 50s and 60s in Wyoming, and a low into California with its associated weather front coming in, and along with that, a ton of moisture. See the rotation out in the Pacific, just spewing that moisture in across the West. And again, we've got this warm front that's setting up. I hate warm fronts, Joe. I just absolutely hate them. I hate forecasting them. I hate living in them because they really can screw things up in terms of what you forecast. If you get it wrong, you usually get it wrong in a big way. You're forecasting 60, it doesn't get out of the 30s, that kind of thing. Okay. And in this particular case, the warm frontal boundary is going to set up probably pretty close by across southern New England and into upstate New York. And you can see the moisture field is playing out with some snow up in the uh, northern lakes and rain showers elsewhere, and a lot of rain in the west, particularly in California, between from San Francisco down, not quite to LA, but radar is very loaded there. So on the busy side, I want to just, by the way, say welcome to everybody tonight on the chat board, and those of you who are watching and lurking in the background. We love you too. Thanks for joining us here on this Tuesday night on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast, and we're here Sunday through Thursday at 7:35 p.m. And of course, if we do wind up having a coastal storm this weekend, then we will probably be adding shows. So subscribe to my YouTube channel, turn your notifications on so you don't miss us. And if you like the show, hit the like button. And Joe's bell indicates that we've got our 100 likes, correct?
That's indeed, if we do.
Yes. SPC, I'm jumping to day 3, which is Thursday into Friday, where we have a marginal to slight risk for severe weather in parts of Illinois, Indiana, Southwest Ohio, and Northern Kentucky. That's pretty interesting. You mentioned
That's
that,
interesting.
could be
Yeah.
could be a decent rainfall amount coming in on Friday with the next weather system after the one for tomorrow.
It's
And as a
very
result,
impressive. It's impressive to see something like that on Friday, but it's even more impressive to me that you see something like that and everybody just right over that and asks, what about the storm on Sunday? Completely ignoring the fact that we have here in mid-February, I would say a rather huge area, Joe, of slight risk of severe, surrounded by a marginal risk and then general thunderstorm. I mean, to me that's impressive what we're seeing, and that's also why I think the rain we're going to see here on Friday is probably going to be heavier and more significant than the rain that we're expecting here tomorrow. We may pick up maybe a third to a quarter of an inch of rain locally in the tri-state area tomorrow, but if everything falls into place, we could find ourselves in maybe a half or three quarters of an inch of rain to finish out the week on Friday with that next system coming in. And again, that's pretty significant. But again, nobody's looking at that. They're all jumping to the weekend. It's amazing. Tunnel vision.
Kenny, thank you for hitting Super Chat tonight. And Richard Bond, who thinks you and I make a great song and dance team, also hit the tip jar tonight. I don't know which song and dance team you want to be, Joe, but um, you
I
figure
don't
it
know.
out.
People used to think of us as those characters on Sesame Street, the ones that would sit in the
Oh, that's the
balcony.
grumpy old, the two grumpy old men.
Right, right.
Yeah, that's about right. And did we have somebody did an open with that or something for us?
Yeah, I think so.
I remember and I forget all at the same time.
The one thing about Sesame Street, I'm sorry to keep getting off topic here, but now that I have a grandson, I am subjected now to having to watch Sesame Street twice a week, two times a day on two different channels, Channel 13 and Channel 21. And the thing that's amazing to me is that it's a totally different. Joe, did you know, by the way, that the Throgs Neck Bridge is at Sesame Street? They actually the show begins with the Throgs Neck Bridge and a plane flying by with a little flag to give you, and on the flag it tells you what number Sesame Street it is. It's up to like 5,500 episodes of Sesame Street. But the other thing is that all the characters that we remember from 30, 40, 50 years ago on Sesame Street are gone.
Well, they're dead.
I mean, Bert and Ernie make cameo appearances. So does Big Bird. You know who the star of Sesame Street is? Elmo. And Elmo is practically the whole show. And I'm saying to myself, why do you even call it Sesame Street anymore? You should call it Elmo's World now. It's a totally different, and the whole way of conveying information about the alphabet and numbers to kids has changed completely. And we don't have those funny skits that we used to watch, with Bert and Ernie or
All right.
Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy or those two guys up in the balcony or whatever. They're gone now. They hardly have any speaking time. It's all Elmo, and it's so much different from what I can
Well, we ought
remember.
to get Elmo on as a guest.
We should bring Elmo on, and he probably would have more sense in conveying long range forecasting as opposed to some of the people who are on TV today
I
or on
agree.
social media today.
Well, WPC is bullish on precip, folks. So they got a large area. It doesn't mean they're not infallible, by the way. WPC's got an inch and a half of liquid plus. Now, some of this is Friday, some of this is Sunday night into Monday, with inch and a half plus amounts going all the way down into Maryland and Delaware. Meanwhile, out in the west, you can see the clobbering in California, where we're talking about several to many inches of rain. And of course, in the areas where it's cold enough in the mountains and in the Sierra Nevadas, all of that is snow. So we're looking at 100-inch plus amounts in some places before it's all said and done, which is something that I've never been able to wrap my head around. So we kind of figured out what the upper air looks like. So let's just take a look at what lies ahead here, because before this storm system even plays out, we got to deal with this warm front. And tomorrow's warm front sets up, I don't know, you probably could draw it maybe right across central New Jersey, so that if you're in South Jersey and point south, you could maybe you should be able to get up into the 50s tomorrow. And if you are north of New York City, particularly if you go north of Route 84, you're going to be in the 30s all day, and you may have some snow. I mean, that's just how it works. And if you're somewhere in between, that's probably the worst place to be because you can't figure out what's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. You may see if you go north of the 84 corridor, some of the precipitation we get tomorrow could very well fall not as all rain, but as wet snow and sleet from time to time. Although, again, more of it is going to be wet than white. So don't, there's not even a cheap thrill involved there. And similar story on Friday. Again, a lot of the precip will probably be in the form of rain, but you have to go well north. You'll probably get cold enough for maybe a little mixing to be included with some of that rain as well.
So, in the west, by the way, there is a surge happening right now. We showed you on the radar, and you can see the dark blue, heavy snow in the Sierra Nevadas. Also, you see snow across Montana into North Dakota as that low pulls down some colder air out of Canada. The warm front's just going to play itself out. That big low, it's a 983 low in northeast Nebraska, Joe. And by the time we get to Thursday morning, it's virtually gone. It's just gone. A
Yep.
new low forms in Kansas. Another surge of rain and snow into California. New low forms in Kansas Thursday. Now, this warm front for Friday is going to set up further south, so there will be rain that will develop and push northward Thursday night into Friday morning. In fact, it might even start as some freezing rain in the colder areas of northeast Pennsylvania, northwest New Jersey, and into the Catskills, and snow further north, but rain everywhere else. And then the warm front probably doesn't get through because that the new low that forms in Kansas goes into the Western Lakes and redevelops east of New Jersey, and then drier air comes in for Saturday. But you're left with this California system. Energy goes along in that southern stream. You have energy coming down from the north. It fires up a low off the North Carolina coast. You believe the depth of the upper air of the GNFS, the Icon, the Canadian, and the Ukmet. You wind up with a massive storm that intensifies rapidly Sunday night into Monday and moves out to the northeast. However, as I said earlier, the European is telling you something when it's not doing this. It does have the southern feature, okay, but the whole upper air in the north is suppressive, and you do wind up with a low. There's one here Sunday or Saturday night that goes out. A second low is going to form Sunday afternoon. That goes out. We get some snow with the upper trough that drops down from upstate New York. That's what that blue area is for Sunday. And that would be it. You'd get very little in a situation like this. So, yeah, look, you got 5 major models that are showing one thing and one that's showing another. And by the way, the European AI is more with the ones that are trying to show something, but the operational that the European is not. I think obviously we're not going to be able to say anything much more than this.
No,
We'll see
not until
we'll
not
see
until
what
later.
tomorrow's Wednesday. As I said, I can't remember what day of the week it is.
Thursday when we're on with Joe and Joe on Thursday night, incidentally, might as well mention this right now. There's going to be a schedule change because I'm doing a library talk on Thursday at 7 p.m., which means that we must, and we obviously will, have Joe and Joe on Thursday at 8:30 on Thursday night. And who knows, Joe? If we go an hour, we can go to like 9:30. We might even get a clue
With
using
the NAM.
the NAM during the
Yeah.
NAM. Yeah. So
Mrs. Hutch hit the tip jar, Joe. She hit super chat. She says we do a great job. because they get both weather and comedy.
Yeah.
Yes. Tanta Herta and Maria from Rush, Kentucky. Thank you so much for hitting the tip jar.
Thank you so much.
And who has Thriller Jeopardy tonight?
It's been so long since we've done Thriller Jeopardy.
I think
I'll
I
check.
have one here somewhere. Let me take a look if I got it.
Let me check. By the way, the two guys up in the balcony, the Muppets that are up in the balcony, the cantankerous
Right.
Muppets, their names are Statler and Waldorf.
Statler and Waldorf. Waldorf doesn't even exist anymore. It's not, you know, it's been converted to condos or something. Okay, here we go. We're doing this Final Jeopardy questions from the TV show. Okay. So
Okay.
the first one, Joe, is he was featured on the September 22nd, 1947 cover of Time magazine with the caption, quote, "He and the boss took a chance," unquote.
1947?
September 22nd, 1947, the cover of Time magazine with the caption, quote, "He and the boss took a chance," unquote. 1947, David Scott. Bruce Springsteen, I don't even know if he was born yet. Nice try, though.
Chris,
We
if
don't
he
know
was,
what the
no,
category
what's the
is.
category?
I don't know.
Oh, well, there you go.
Well, CWTR Shark said MacArthur. You know, that's not a bad guess. It's a wrong guess, but not a bad guess. I know it was a joke, David. Not B. Arthur Richroth Manson. Okay. S.O.
B.
Mac
Arthur.
Mickey Man. Wait. S.O. Mac Mickey Mantle. Now that is an incorrect answer, but you are in the genre. Okay, you are in the genre. I'm helping you, Joe. You should be able to. I would think you would get this.
I heard some weird noises in the background. I don't know what the hell's going on upstairs. Who would that be? I don't know.
Steve Lapointe, not Joe DiMaggio, not Ty Cobb, not Babe Ruth, and
Well, who's that?
finally, documenting America gets it, and so does Chris Alley. Jackie Robinson. Jackie Robinson.
Jackie Mr. Interborough Parkway.
Yes. This country coat of arms featured a palm tree and a 19th century American sailing ship. No cheating. Don't go on ChatGPT. Don't go on Gemini, folks. Okay. This country's coat of arms featured a palm tree and a 19th century American sailing ship. No one's going to get this. Not Cuba, not Spain, definitely not Switzerland. Why would they have a palm tree? Maybe in the Caribbean. Well, that's logical, but wrong. Spain, Portugal, Bermuda, no. On and on it goes. I'm just going to give the answer because no one's going to get this. Liberia. Next, he was the president when. Oh, you should get this one. This is easy. He was the president when Joe Namath and the Jets won the Super Bowl.
That would be. Wait a minute. Hold on. Now, if they played the Super Bowl before January 20th, it's LBJ. If it's after January 20th, it's Nixon.
In those days, the Super Bowl was before January 20th. So it's
then
the
it would
answer.
have to be Richard Nixon then.
No, in 60, it would be LBJ.
Well, you said it was after they played.
No, the Super Bowl was before January 20th.
Okay, so then it would be LBJ, yeah.
Yeah, it was LBJ. So a number of you said LBJ on the chat board. You got it correctly. Okay, the two states that border the most other states and border each other along a 60-mile stretch?
Say that again now. The
Okay.
two states
The,
that
the two states that border the most other states, and they also border each other along a 60-mile stretch.
Kentucky and Tennessee.
Very good. You got one of them.
Tennessee?
SOMAC also got one of them. Tennessee is one. Tennessee is one. And Mogo Lurch, what is Missouri? That is correct. Tennessee and Missouri. And finally, most of this firm's seasoned 70,000 white collar employees only work 4 months a year.
Only 4 months?
Yes. The firm's seasoned 770,000 white collar employees work only 4 months a year. Christinapedia, not the IRS. I guarantee you, not the IRS. It might seem that they only work 4 months a year, but it's not that. And this is coming from a former employee. Not H&R Block. It's not Tax Guys. Amazon is not it. Apple is not it. It's not landscaping. Congress. I don't know if Congress actually works for 4 months. 4 weeks, maybe. And this is the question apparently Ken Jennings got wrong and lost the Tournament of Champions on. I'm going to just go ahead. A hint. You might get. No, there's no way for me to hint it without actually giving it away. So I'm just going to give it away since we've already gone 50 minutes tonight, and I'm tired. I want to go to bed. FedEx, Joe. FedEx.
Really?
Yeah. I should work. Well, we work. Here we're here Sunday through Thursday at 7:35 p.m. and the
That's right.
occasional Friday and Saturday.
Right.
I mean, when we take when we take a day off, there are certain people on the chat board whose heads explode. That God forbid we should. That God forbid we should take a day off. But we will remind you that if something is going to be happening late in the weekend, we will likely add shows at the for Friday and for Saturday. So I'm putting that out there now, and we'll let you know later in the week. And Joe mentioned Thursday is an 8:30 start, right? LOC important.
Get away from me.
Oh God. Anyhow, anything else you want to add before we say goodnight?
No, nothing.
All right. So on that note, we'll say goodnight. And super chats tonight. Thank you very much, Richard Bond, Delaware weather guy. Thank you for hitting the tip jar. Mrs. Hutch and Kenneth W8U5I. Thanks for hitting the tip jar. We will see you all mañana. Bye bye.